So I already made this video, but my mic wasn't working, which is kind of appropriate. I was watching movies that have to go back to the library, and I saw on Twitter this tweet that made it look almost like Irene Cara died, but I was like, nah. But then it's true, she did die, and I'm kind of upset because about a month ago, I looked her up for some reason. I must have been looking up theme songs or something, and just like everybody else in the 80s, I grew up on Flashdance and Fame and everything, and so I looked her up and I saw that she had a YouTube channel that she hadn't updated for a while. I kind of felt bad because she's one of those people who obviously we all love them in the 80s and stuff. But for whatever reason, I didn't follow her on Twitter or anything. And I was like, okay. That's what I liked about Twitter in the beginning, was that there were all these people who I grew up loving, like George Michael and Ralph Macchio and Boy George, who at the time, you know, if I watched every news program and read every magazine, I wouldn't never hear about them because they were the like I said, the Access Hollywoods and the fames Access Hollywoods and the extras and shows like that. They just became advertising to whoever told them to promote whatever. Like I said, I remember one time I realized that like Eminem was on and he had an album coming out, and they had what was probably a 10-minute video with him that they broke into 5 pieces. I played it over all 5 days, like Monday to Friday, to make sure people bought the album. And that's what it's been for a couple decades now of the music industry. And some of the music's okay, but most of it, compared to what we grew up with in the 80s, is garbage. And something happened in the 90s, I think, when my generation was coming up, where the least talented people, or not very talented people, were the ones who ended up becoming famous and having careers and hits and hits and hits and hits. And there's all these people who were from before then that were just not lost, but they were cast aside, or, you know what I mean, they were how people, you know, just, you know, but there was the talent back in the 80s. Like, when kids now watch 80s music, they're like, oh my god, this music's so great. And it's like, yeah, it was. So, like, that's why I try to be the fan the way that I am. I know it probably comes off as annoying and stuff, but, or like I'm picky or whatever, but there's so many people I liked where, you know, I followed them for years and years and years, and their filmographies just don't hold up to people who are much less talented than them and who aren't as special as them, because those people did what they were told, or they were company stooges, you know what I mean, or they were controlled by some unseen forces or whatever. And those people end up having the great careers, excuse me, and people who have some kind of integrity and actual talent fall by the wayside. And I don't know what was going on with her. I don't know what she was doing, but I hadn't heard from her in a long time when I found that YouTube channel, and I was like, gee, I wish I'd found this earlier, you know. So I felt bad that, you know, this is just somebody I hadn't thought to follow and keep track of and stuff like that. But I didn't think anything was wrong. I was like, gee, I hope she's okay, and I hope she comes out with some more stuff, because I mean, I know she won the Oscar. I think it's for What a Feeling. It could be for Fame, but I think it's because she wrote the songs. Like, Donna Summer also won, but, you know, I don't think you just win for singing. I'm not sure, but I think she wrote the songs. So, those movies were so, I mean, the video for Flashdance was on constantly, and I loved it because I wanted to be a dancer back then, and we all wore the black leg warmers and stuff. She was not in the film. That was Jennifer Beals, but that scene, the video, the scene in the film where she does the audition, is such an iconic scene for people, especially my age. It's one of those great movie moments. It took a lot of people to put that dance scene together. There were a lot of dancers that edited together very well, or maybe not so well, depending on how you look at it, but it's just movie magic. That's what I consider movie magic. And Fame, like I said, I don't know if I saw Fame. I don't think I saw the movie Fame until much later. Of course I knew the song. Everybody knew the song. And I think I said before, you know, that I told the story of when we were at NYU freshman year, me and a couple of other girls went up to oh, maybe it was just me and Jennifer, and we went up to Lincoln Center, and it was the same fountain, not the stupid fountain they have now. It was the same fountain as on the TV show Fame, where we did the spins and stuff. So that was very much something we grew up with, and she wasn't in the show, and if I'm being completely honest, I was a big fan of Coco on the show. You know what I mean? But the songs were what I was really into, and Irene Cara was on all the TV shows, like Solid Gold and all that stuff all the time. You know what I mean? Just like you would see people, I'm sure she was on the Macy's Day Parade or something, just like you would see people now come on and do things. So she was always around, and she just seemed so happy and bubbly and stuff like that. And of course, like I said, very talented. And I don't know what her life was like lately. The publicist who put out the tweet said, a different tweet, not the one I initially saw, said that they had been working on some stuff, and that's great if there's new music, and it's great and everything like that. But I don't, when you have somebody huge and famous, and I guess part of me always felt like being an entertainer would be a great thing, but I want people to have comebacks. I want them to get their glory. You know what I mean? If they were from a long time ago or whatever. Like I said, Michael Jackson died. I mean, people love Michael Jackson and everything, but he was about to go on a huge tour, and sort of like he was here and there. Some of his reputation was coming back, but you know what I mean? He was on the verge of having a great tour, and then he died. And Heath Ledger died right before, well, not right before, but before The Dark Knight came out, you know? And I just feel like if people die and they don't get to have all the accolades, I mean, she had accolades way back then, but to have lived all this time and be somewhat out of the public eye, if she was going to have a comeback and have new music and stuff, and to not be able to get, you know, that comeback and that victory, that makes me sad. So that's why when I say if I complain about, or I say, oh, somebody should do this, so I make my list of actors I want to see in musicals, because I want the talented people to get in there. I want people who deserve, see, I'm the one deciding deserving, right? I want people who deserve the notoriety, deserve the fame, deserve the glory, deserve to be called best. You know what I mean? I want them to get the opportunity, not somebody who, you know, makes the right friends and, you know, nuzzles up to the right people and does all that sort of thing in order to get where they are when they really don't have any talent at all. You know what I mean? Because that's what I think happened with my generation. I think that for whatever reason, in the 90s when my generation was coming up, it seemed like mostly just random, you know, it started the nepotism thing. There's all this other stuff when there's all these famous people who just have to take a seat because somebody in the pecking order is ahead of them who doesn't belong there. And so when somebody like this who's really talented and really, you know, I hope her life was good. I hope she didn't, I hope it was, you know, she died peacefully. It's not a sad cause of death or whatever. But I guess she died yesterday. I just feel bad when people don't get that not second wind, but you know what I mean? Because I liked a lot of people who, for whatever reason, Hollywood or the music business just pushed them aside and propped up all these rappers and this crap music and the popular music of the day. And when I watch the kids do the reaction videos and they have no idea about some Michael Jackson songs, they never heard of any of the people in We Are the World except for Michael Jackson and maybe Lionel Richie. It makes me sad because it's like, art is important, music is important, and people who did a great job should be lauded, I believe. And if she had more stuff coming out, that's great, but I feel sad that she didn't have any. I don't know what her life was like. I hope it was happy. But I just feel sad that if she was trying to do some kind of, as they call it, comeback, that she didn't get to see that come through before she died. So, Yeah, I don't know if she had any kids or anything like that. I don't know what she had for family and stuff like that. But I do feel bad, you know.